Welcome back. It's been a topsy-turvy movement at the crude oil market in the last couple of days as oil prices rose in early trade today, but not without headwinds from concerns over slowing demand and the rise in the U.S. With research analyst at financial derivatives company Adim Okwesa joins me now on the program to talk about the impact of oil price shocks on the Nigerian economy. Thanks for joining us, Adim.
Thank you, Missy.
Now, how severe will a shock to oil prices impact our current economic recovery targets?
Well, I think it will be extremely severe considering the economy is still highly exposed to oil price movements. Economic recovery and growth plan, our 2017 budget, medium-term expenditure framework are all hinged on oil prices of $42.50. So if there's any external shock, if there's any crash, oil price crash like the one in 2015, then I see our economy plunging deeper into the recession. But that's essentially one step forward, 3 steps backwards. And the CBN has been able to sustain its interjections in the markets, and that has been able to stabilize the currency. If our oil receipts are reduced significantly, then the CBN it will be extremely difficult for the CBN to continue this interventionist program. And I won't be surprised if oil prices crash back, if our currency crashes back to $500. So as long as our economy is still hinged on oil, then it's very difficult for our economy.
Well, if you say that if the government is hinged on oil, it will be difficult, what is the government currently doing to hedge against these shocks?
Well, I think the government is highly active in this diversification agenda. Apart from focusing on other revenue-generating sectors such as agricultural, mining, and tourism, I think the government has also recognized that private sector participation will be vital in diversifying the economy. In recent times, I've seen the government embark on various initiatives to facilitate private sector growth. For example, a new Development Bank of Nigeria was recently established to provide loans to SMEs. The CBN has opened a new SME foreign exchange window, and we've also seen the establishment of various business parks in the east to foster manufacturing. So yes, you can say the government is highly active in this diversification agenda.
Yeah, but it's one thing for the government to be active, and it's another to see how effective these efforts have been so far. So have we seen any effects recently?
That's the challenge. I think what we have to recognize is that these are not quick fixes. These are long-term solutions. It will take several years for non-oil revenue to be able to depose oil as a dominant source of revenue. But I think what we have to know is that the slump in oil prices was not the only reason why we are in this current economic predicament. I think structural deficiencies such as wasteful spending, corruption, and weak institutions are also challenges which we can address and which can deliver results now.
A research analyst at financial derivatives company Adim Okwesa, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us on the program.
Thank you very much.
We'll stay with the commodities markets, and the farmers in Ivory Coast are worried at the insufficient rain in eastern and western regions of the country could cause April to September mid-crop to taper off early. The farmers say growing conditions were poor last week in all regions except the south, where there was abundant rain. In the center-western region of the Lua, which accounts for about a quarter of the national output, farmers reported one light rainfall last week mixed with sunny spells. In the western region of Subre, at the heart of the Cocoa Belt, farmers reported 2 light rainfalls mixed with sun and gave similar predictions. The absence of Nigerian officials at this year's World Economic Forum on Africa did not go unnoticed by delegates who attended. Well, many of the plenary sessions had Nigerian panelists from the private sector speaking on the issues affecting the continent's development, but many were hoping to hear from government officials from the country to speak about some of the issues raised from a Nigerian perspective. This didn't happen as none was present.
There were numerous panel discussions like electrifying Africa, responsive and responsible leadership, banking on youths, and trust in leadership. There were also brilliant Nigerian discussants from the private sector.
Thank you.
There was also a special one on Nigeria and South Africa. Both economies are said to contribute 60% of sub-Saharan Africa's GDP. Hardly any session at this World Economic Forum on Africa went by without the name Nigeria cropping up, mostly recognition of its huge economic potential as well as strategic role in Africa's development. But Nigerian officials were not present to speak to some of these issues raised.
It's a real shame that actually there haven't been more people here. But I think, there's people who have got a lot to do in Nigeria. In a way, it shows good discipline, perhaps, that we don't have people swanning around conferences. But this is an important conference, and I think, it's got a very strong international links, which I think makes it more strategic than perhaps many other conferences that happen in Africa. So, yes, I think it is a bit disappointing that, there's not a higher presence of what is, I think, still Africa's biggest economy.
We have a challenge to build up better relationships between Nigeria and South Africa. Yes, I was sad not to see more Nigerians and more ministerial level people here.
Nigeria's acting High Commissioner to South Africa was incidentally elsewhere in Durban.
Nigeria's absence is not actually, so to speak, a denial or probably a refusal to participate, but it is the developments back at home that we could not have our own officials attending as expected.
It was also at the forum that the Global Competitiveness Index was released, with Nigeria placing 127th after 144, way behind South Africa's 56.
Well, I know that Nigeria and South Africa are today underperforming. And these are two Africa's largest economies. And therefore, all of us as Africans were interested.
This year's World Economic Forum had the theme Achieving Inclusive Growth Through Responsive and Responsible Leadership. The world looks to Nigeria and South Africa to brave all the odds and spearhead achieving just that in Africa. From Durban, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
And that's it on today's program. Thank you for watching. I am BC Adebayo.